Hey, flower friends. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler. And I know we're not really talking about sunflowers today, but I couldn't resist showing we still, on October 30th, have sunflowers coming in from the field here at the Gardener's Workshop Farm. And we actually have 4 more weeks out there. Fingers crossed. It's always a gamble, but some years it pays off. And so far, it's paying off. How beautiful are these? Those are the Pro Cut series mix above my shoulder over there, that image that's up there. And this is what this is. This is it in real life. And I just couldn't resist sharing my little bright spot with you guys today. And so welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Let's jump in. So friends, if we've never met before, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am with the Gardener's Workshop. And I've been a commercial flower farmer for the past 25 years, and I'm on this mission now to help folks grow amazing cut flowers, whether it's for profit or for pleasure. And I do that by demonstrating and showing you what I do, maybe why I do it that way, and then also offering up the same tools, seeds, and supplies that I use. So if you'll notice down below this video, there's actually a ribbon of products. So you can actually shop during the live show or afterwards. And if you're watching on a mobile app, then you might have to close the comments to actually be able to see that. But anyway, I just wanted to make you aware of that. And so today's show, I'm going to be talking about Nigella and Larkspur, which for many of us, we can fall plant and we direct seed that. And I'm going to talk about and show you how I would do that. And friends, I'm going to give you a peeky poo inside the big calendar journal, which is debuting the end of November. We got a hard copy of the interior pages. So I want to share a couple of those with you and let you know why you definitely want to pre-order it to get in on the free live workshop that I'll be leading on that calendar. As well as I'll be sharing about flower farming school and the free masterclass that I'm doing tonight on where to sell flowers. And friends, that is kind of what the road we're going to travel down here today. So just out of the gate, let's get rid of a couple of things. So first off, tonight at 8 p.m., today is October 30th of 2025. And if you are of the thoughts of either you are selling flowers or you're thinking about becoming a commercial cut flower farmer, I invite you to join me tonight for my free live masterclass called Where to Sell Your Cut Flowers. And I'm sharing and going through 14 different types of avenues, as well as, y'all, I am busting some myths on flower farming. Like, for instance, are there really too many commercial professional flower farmers? Spoiler alert, no, there is not. And that's tonight. And to sign up for that, Jesse may put a link in the comments, but if you don't see the link, you just head over to thegardenersworkshop.com, my website. It's at the top of every page until I go live at 8 o'clock tonight, y'all. So sign up for that. Check for the email. That's where the link will be for you to get in. It will not be accessible publicly. And there's also a PDF you have to actually print and bring that to the workshop so you can fill in, so you can have some like usable notes to reflect on, right? So y'all, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of trying to look at my notes so I don't miss anything out, skip anything. And tonight I will be sharing about flower farming school, my big course, the basics, which is the foundation of starting and running a business, what to grow, how to build your working garden, all of that stuff. Has a special offer through tomorrow night, and I'll be sharing more about that tonight, as well as the big bonus in addition to giving you $200 off. I mean, it was already such a value at $695. Now it's $495. Plus, you get my bonus training, which is a video and a PDF of succession planting, and you don't want to miss out on that. So Let's talk about Larkspur and what are they? So Larkspur is a cool season hardy annual, and they have tall, spiky blooms. They're often referred to as the Southerners delphinium, and they are a such a favorite of pollinators and hummingbirds. The hummingbirds are pretty serious in the Larkspur patch when we have it here on the farm, and I don't know if I mentioned they're cool season hardy annual, which means they're a cool flower, which means that they can be planted. Their preferred planting times are fall, winter for some people, and very early spring for others potentially. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And so let's just take a look at some of them. Now, they are direct sown. That is their preferred method. Not very much luck starting these indoors because of their need of varying temperatures. Cool nights and warm days is what tells them to wake up and sprout. And we don't typically have that inside of our homes, right? But this is what we're looking at. So this is misty lavender. And y'all, look how pretty that is. These are like shoulder high out in the garden. I tell you, a perfect place to plant larkspur. If you have a permanent planting of peonies somewhere, if you sprinkle larkspur seed amongst your peonies and then snug it in, it'll reseed itself, not aggressively, but just enough for what a beautiful display. Now, all of these seeds and everything I'm mentioning are available in the shop. Look at this one. This is, what are they? Fancy Smoky Eyes. I never remember that name. This is white with like a lavender blush on it. Really beautiful. I mean, imagine these are blooming in May. These colors are just made for May, right? And then this is the one that most people gravitate to. This is the QIS mix. QIS stands for quality in seed. And this has pinks, blues, and the white. So it's a nice mix of all the different colors. It does not include the two previous specific colors, but it has a bunch of beauties. And so these blooming amongst your peonies is pretty dadgum amazing. Now, as I mentioned, I'll show you in just a moment how I direct sow. And Larkspur really does best that way. Now, I want to move on and just jump right into Nigella, and then I'm going to show you how I plant both of them. So Nigella is just such a whimsy plant. I grew a lot of Nigella throughout all of my years of flower farming. Colonial Williamsburg would beg me not to cut them fresh and to allow them to produce pods, which is what they wanted. But we just found they were so useful in bouquets. And let me just show you some of the different varieties. So they are frequently deer resistant. They're strong reseeders. If you let those seed pods stay in the garden and they pop, you will have them forever. And let's take a look at them. This one is Miss Jekyll is a series, and this is the Miss Jekyll Indigo. Y'all, look at that blue flower. They're about that big. And they're spectacular. This is what develops into the seed pod. This is another one. Look at light. This is Miss Jekyll, another one in her series. Light blue, y'all. I mean, it doesn't even look real. It does not even look real. I absolutely love these guys. We used so many of these in fresh bouquets. But here's the Miss Jekyll mix that has all of those colors plus rose plus white. Just really a spectacular flower. And I will tell you, I'm looking here. See, this is a bud. This is how you should be cutting it. It'll quickly bust open in a bouquet. You want to cut earlier than later. And then this is a new series. This is Delph Blue. These are different than the previous ones that we just looked at. Look at those blooms. Those are the center seed pods that develop as the flower ages. But look how pretty that is, y'all. And on a wet season, a wet spring, you know, you have a lot of good warmth and water. My Nigella will be hip high, y'all. So normally we don't net it, but the year that it did that made me start netting Nigella because we lost so many of it to laying down. And this is a special one, y'all. Look at this one. This one's called African Bride. It's white, and that funky thing in the middle there is the beginning of the seed pod. I mean, is that not the coolest flower you've ever seen? And see all those buds? That's how you're going to cut them. And they quickly open inside. And then this is Persian mulberry rose. And it is a mix of rose colors. So this is a single. You can see that it's bicolor. Down here is one that I know that's a multi-petal. It's more white with a blush of pink. And here's a pink. Pink in spring, holy cow, you can never have enough, right? And then look at this one. This is midnight. They just call it midnight. So this is the same structure as African Bride, but it's a darker color, which, if you have a use for it, it is a beauty, but you don't need a lot of dark colors, right? But midnight is a gorgeous one. And then look at this. This is the seed pod that most of them develop, all the Miss Jekyll series. This one, which is called Green Marbles, has a white bloom and it produces this lime green pod. This is the only variety that produces lime green pod. The other varieties produce darker colored pods. They aren't quite as universal. This is my pod grower, y'all. This is the one that I would grow for pods and absolutely love it. So as I mentioned, we direct seed all of these. And excuse me, let me show you here inside as best we can how I direct seed these. Now, why many of the flowers that prefer to be direct sown need to be direct sown. It is that whole variation of temperature. We tend to always jump to, oh, the roots don't like to be disturbed. And that could be true, but it's really more about providing the conditions that it needs to actually wake up and sprout, right? So most people just never get them to sprout inside. That's the real big problem. So let me just show you how I direct. So we're pretending, right? So we're going to pretend that this is a bed, a 30-inch wide bed out in your garden. This is our hand hoe. Love this tool, guys. And it's in the shop. This is one of the tools. This is the number one tool we've sold since we started in 2005, right? Everybody carries it around like a purse. It goes in and out of stock all the time because of supply. So if you need one, want one, gifting some, get them. We use the point of this hoe to pull a trough down the center of the bed that I'm planting out in the garden. And if I was out in the garden, I'd pull another trough here and another trough here to actually have 3 planting little hedgerows, right? Then I take those seeds that prefer to be direct sown according to seed packet instructions, y'all. All of our seed packets tell you exactly whether it should go outside or be started inside, and then whether it gets covered with soil or not. I pick up some seeds between my 2 fingers, and just like you're salting, you just move your fingers back and forth. At the same time, you are moving them down the trough, right? The goal is to drop a seed every inch or 2. Yes, you have to grossly overseed to get a good stand of direct seeded seedlings out in the garden. I struggled with that for 10 years, y'all. I always was trying to be stingy on the seeds. I always had holes and spots, and then I learned you just go for it. The seed is the least expensive piece of your operation. If you're gardening or farming, overseed and then have the guts to thin them, right? So we sow the seed, and then according to package instructions, you either cover the seed with soil. If you cover, I just use my hoe to pull a little soil down, and then I push on the trough to firm the seed into place. If you don't cover, you just firm it. You don't cover, right? If you cover a seed that needs light to germinate, it will not germinate. And I will tell you that I counsel so many people, and that's what they've done. I say, well, did you cover it or not? And they say, oh, yeah, I covered it. It's like, if you read the Iceland poppy package, it says needs light to germinate. Do not cover with soil. And so you kind of have to really know for each individual flower that you're actually doing it with, right? All right. So the other step that I take to help ensure that my direct seeded seeds have the best start, and I will tell you, I did not take my own medicine this week. We I replanted my Iceland poppies because I knew where I planted them was not a good spot. So I had Andrew add a 2-inch topper on our bed. It's only 5 foot long of a long bed, but only 5 foot of it is for poppies. I had him top it with potting soil. This is a great tip, y'all. If you feel like your soil is just not nice enough to plant these itty bitty, tiny, tiny little like Iceland poppy seeds, a great tip. I tell you this in planting in the Cut Flower Handbook. Top it with some potting soil and use that for your seed bed. It builds your soil and your seeds get a better start. So we did that and we replanted our Iceland poppies. And I did not do what I'm getting ready to show you because they hadn't been having a problem. But because of that nice soil, I came out the next day. A squirrel had decimated that whole area, rooting around, digging up, burying his pecans. So I'm getting ready to plant again. And now I will be covering this area of the bed with floating row cover. So this is floating row cover. Some people call it a frost cloth. This is the lightest weight. That's why we call it a floating row cover. It's lightweight enough for short-term use to use it without hoops. Okay, so you just direct seeded your bed. If you want to prevent varmints, birds from stealing your seeds, and to help retain moisture, we just lay the frost cloth down on the bed, and then we use weight bags. Then we call them anchor bags. This is an anchor bag that weighs 15 pounds. 15 pounds is like the marker for what keeps our row covers down because I live in a really windy place. You can fill the anchor bags with sand, soil, or gravel. Ours always have gravel in them. And you just put them about every 10 feet on the corners. And if it's a long bed, 10 feet along. And you want the row cover to not be super tight, but you don't want it really loose. And that just, the creatures, bless their hearts, they're smart, but they do not know that there's something underneath that cover if you cover it immediately after planting. We pull the cover back to actually water and then put it back down. We leave this flat on the ground row cover for a couple of 3 weeks until they germinate and they're up a little bit. But if you want to use it long term, like we do for many of our cool season stuff for wind protection, you can use hoops, which you can also find those in our store. So you can find the row cover in the store. It comes in, it's 6.5 feet wide. There's 20 footers, 50 footers, and I think there's even longer ones. The bags, which come like this, and you fill them up, and it has a string you can tie off at the top and just fill them. And I take one bag in and weigh it. It's like, okay, y'all, this is about how big it needs to be because that makes or breaks whether your row cover stays down. They come in 10 packs, 30 packs, and 60 packs. Never will you have enough weight bags. We use weight bags to hold down insect netting, silage tarps. I mean, there's just so many uses for these anchor bags, and they don't rip your stuff. All of the other types of anchors, clips, pins, you would never do that to any of those items that I just mentioned because it rips as soon as the wind starts to bellow a little bit. All right, I did mention, let me find my sample. It must have fallen off. I'm losing stuff, y'all. Wait a minute. I'm looking. So I talked about how that 1 year my, well, all right. I can't find my sample. I'm sure it's here falling off the, flower support netting. I talked about the Nigella that actually that 1 year that we had such a wet warm that I actually had Nigella that was hip high. It was amazing. It was like all the varieties. It was definitely the season. And we lost so much of it because it just laid down in torrential rain. Well, flower support netting, which is a 6x6 plastic netting that we actually suspended above the bed, which is super easy to do with sturdy garden stakes, pulled tautly. It definitely will make you say bad words when you start figuring out how to use this stuff. But I do it so quick and easy now. Practice, y'all. You just have to do it over and over again. But the flower support netting is available in the shop. And you can judge whether you think you'll need it for Nigella, but Larkspur definitely needs that, right? And so, normally I only direct seed out in the garden a handful of flowers. I don't ever do it in spring and summer. The only time I direct seed is in the fall for cool season hardy annuals. And the reason is it's just more labor, more seeds to direct seed out in the garden. It's actually the complete opposite of what most people think. But as commercial growers, we are always looking to do it the quickest, easiest, most cost-effective way. Direct seeding, it does not do that for us. With weed pressure, you have to thin. There's just so many additional steps. And then oftentimes with a less thick, full stand of plants, right? So let me show you how I normally start seeds. And look at this. I want to show you some of my seedlings. So we have just completed our cool flower planting. Cool flowers are the cool season hardy annuals. That's the name of a book I wrote, if you're not familiar about this family. So we have, we were counting the other day, I think we have 48 different types of flowers planted going into winter, stuff that's winter hardy in my zone of 8A. And so these are the leftovers. This is what was left. So these are billy balls. This is craspedia. And this is 40 plants growing on this tray. And these are like 5 weeks old, y'all. These are like ready to go to the garden. How amazing is that? I'm actually going to plant these in a container, I think. And so soil blocking not only is incredibly space savvy, this is like 8 inches by 5. So, I mean, you can just tuck in a little seed starting setup anywhere in your home, a laundry room, a closet, literally. And so this is billy balls, craspedia. And then this was some leftover sweet William. This is 20 plants on this little 5¼ inch square tray that just, you can start so much in a little small space, and it just grows absolutely stellar seedlings. So let me show you how I do that. Let me see. I haven't thought about this. Trying not to push my computer off the back of the counter. All right. So, I've been soil blocking for over 30 years. We import the blockers from England. That the Ladbroke brand is the original brand. And we use the small 3/4 inch block size almost exclusively. The only time I go to a bigger size block is when the seed won't fit in here, like for instance, sweet peas, sunflowers, those types of things. So this is the blocking mix, which is I had the appropriate amount of water added, and I push it down a couple of times into the mix. This is a potato masher, y'all. I find that to be the very best tool. And we use flat bottom trays with no drainage holes. And this allows you to do it anywhere in your home, y'all. It's literally a tabletop method. You just place the tool on the tray, give it a squeeze, and just that quick, you just made 20 little containers. And that is exactly what this 5-week-old Sweet William is growing in. There's no thinning. You put 1 seed per block. There's no bumping up necessary, contrary to what most people think. And I have started, when we were in high production, we were doing over 100,000 seedlings a year throughout the seasons doing this. So we've kind of perfected the method, and absolutely, I mean, I wouldn't be a commercial flower farmer because y'all know I have no greenhouse, right? I still don't. I can't. The city will not let me. I mean, I'm not zoned to have a greenhouse structure here in the city. All right. So speaking of those trays, one of the struggles that many of us, I mean, I still, y'all, even with a lot of grow lights and a lot of heat mat space, I still don't have enough space. Ever. Never, ever has it been said that I have too much grow light space, right? Well, one of the things that I use so many different size trays to seed start because I want to align the number of seeds that I'm starting of a specific flower or vegetable with the size tray that I'm using. Because if you only need 20 blocks, this holds 2 sets of 20. and you put it over here, then this space is wasted on your heat mat and your grow light. You soon learn how to squeeze in as many seedlings as possible on the supplies that you have, right? So that's why we have all these different sizes. So these are available. They're all available in 5-packs and 25-packs. These are reusable foam. These are not intended to be thrown away, y'all. We use them for years. So this is the 5 1/4 square. It's like $1.95 for 5 of them. Here's the large that holds 2 sets of 20. I think that's $2.95. And this guy is the one that's going to come in the kit that I'm getting ready to show you now. Has 3 sets of 20. So this is a really great way to start a lot in a very small space. So let me show you the #1 selling item or set kit that we've sold since we started in 05 teaching and retailing. And that is the soil block maker kit. So this kit comes with the small blocker that you just saw me make. And these are the official original Ladbroke brand blockers. And it also includes my Seed Starting Made Easy online course. I walk you through starting them, growing them up, hardening them off, getting them out in the garden, and even teaching you how to sow seeds out in the garden. And then you choose at checkout if you want 3 warm season seeds or 3 cool season seeds. That's your choice at checkout. It comes with 5 of those the large trays, which hold 3 sets of 20. It comes with our aluminum seed pan, so there's no static electricity, as well as our toothpick and toothpick holder and our little wooden plant markers. And it comes with the ready-made mix, y'all. This is a 6-quart bag. And this 6-quart bag will make 600 of those little blocks. Y'all, it is just so efficient. And just, it's very dense and very, very heavy. And so you can get all of this. If I can hold it off. For, oh, that didn't look good, right? For $89.95 plus shipping. And you are set to actually start soil blocking. I mean, you just add soil and seeds the next year, right? And so that will get you going in the soil block making department. Now, what's the next step? And that's what I'm often asked about, and particularly this time of the year. Do I really need to use a seedling heat mat? And let me tell you why you need to use one, and that'll help you realize that this could be the missing piece. So for a seed to actually sprout, they need signals from us. And 2 really easy ones to figure out is moisture is one, and the other is temperature. And so most seeds, it's not for every seed, but most seeds germinate best, meaning sprout, between 75 and 85 degrees. And when you're thinking to yourself right now, well, shoot, my house is like 70 or 72. I'm good. I don't need that. Well, friends, you're talking about air temperature. I'm talking about soil temperature. And so let's just say your house is 70 for easy figuring. If your house is 70 degrees, that means that a mass of soil, a glass of water, any mass of anything in your home is typically 15 to 20 degrees cooler than the air temperature. So that means your soil is 55 degrees. Thus explains why people cannot get seeds to sprout uniformly and quickly or at all. Then comes in a seedling heat mat, and it has a built-in thermostat that, guess what, heats this up 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the air temperature it's sitting in. So I recommend air temperature of about 65 to 70 degrees when you're starting cool season stuff to put your seedlings or your soil blocks on a heat mat. And when you're doing warm season stuff, it needs to be warmer. When we're starting cool season hardy annual seeds, they don't need it hot, like warm, like zinnias and tomatoes and all that need it much warmer. Cool season definitely needs a level of warmth, but not hot. I literally will just, this is sitting on your countertop somewhere plugged in. And you can set a cookie cooling rack, like you put your cookies on top of the mat, and then put your trays on that. That creates a little airspace that just cools the heat mat down just a smidgen. And that works beautifully for cool season hardy annuals. So this is the heat mat, and it's $39.95. There is a giant one for growers that need a bigger one. You'll see that also in the store while you're actually in there. And so what else did I want to tell you about? So I want to show you guys. So if you've been hanging with me for more than a minute, you know that we have this big calendar journal product that is launching the end of November. We're in pre-order now. And so the big calendar is what has been running my farm for the last 15 years. I've written about it in all my books. I've talked about it in all my courses, that every winter I would sit down with this giant calendar. And the reason it's giant is so you can actually write in the days, like your list of seeds and how many you're starting and what everything's in one spot, right? And so I've used that. I literally have multiple years upstairs. And then in January, I take a day and I get a pot of coffee and I come in here, put up a couple tables, and I lay out my calendars and I review. That's the journal part of the calendar journal. I look back at previous years, and y'all, every single year I find gold mines of flowers I'd forgotten about that just didn't do good one year and I never grew it again, or I started something too late, or I just can't tell you how helpful it is. Anyway, so every year that's what I've done. Well, this year we were able to secure a printer that has actually created this 20-inch by 30-inch calendar, and it has all of my instructions on it so that you can customize for your garden and farm your cut flower seed, seed starting and planting calendar. So let me show you a couple of things. So yesterday we actually got I've shown this before. This is the cover. This kind of shows you a glimpse of what's inside. This is the size of it. It's bound at the top. It'll have a wire hanger, so it's really easy to hang on a nail. We are even including my favorite pencil, because, if you are a pencil writer, eraser person, you know that not all erasers are created equally. And so we actually tested paper for which paper you can write on and then erase with this particular popular pencil. And so we're going to send you a pencil and a piece of twine, because you should always have your pencil tied to your calendar so you never feel the need to write with pen. All right, so here's the cover. What I got yesterday was some of the interior pages, hard copy proofs, and I want to show you a couple of those. Let's just put these up. Y'all, I am spilling stuff. I am sure that I lost that netting somewhere under this big cart I'm on. All right, so the page that you haven't seen, this is the second page. I know it's hard to see. This is the second page to the calendar. And my friends, this is the 6 steps that are going to change your life and turn you into a 3-season succession gardener or farmer. And I'm going to walk you through those on the calendar. And here, step 3 is 9 different planting windows. And then the equation to figure out when your date is for you to plug in so that you can then mark on your calendar when your planting window is. Because when you know when you're supposed to plant it, it's very simple based on the other things I'm going to talk about, when to figure out your seed starting dates. And so the deal is, the reason I'm urging people to pre-order is I'm going to be leading a free workshop for all pre-order purchasers. And I'm going to walk you through this section right here. And so you want to pre-order. The day these land here, pre-ordering is over, right? So you want to pre-order so that we can walk through that together and then look at this. And by the way, the calendar is $39.95. This is like the bargain of a lifetime. This is 1 month's page. And this is why Giant is so important. Can you see, like, this is 1 square. This is also an any year calendar, meaning you write in the dates. So you're not controlled by when you buy it. And once the date's gone by, it's not usable for whatever reason. People do all kinds of different things. So this is January. And notice at the bottom of every month, there's more tips. Y'all, I'm telling you, it is just pretty dadgum amazing. And so here is the rest of the story. On that instruction page that I showed you, the first one, there's a QR code where you're going to go to and download and print my seed starting worksheet. And you'll be able to sit down with this worksheet, which has, I believe it's 66 different flowers on it, with this and your calendar. After you fill out those 9 planting windows and figure out when you're supposed to start everything. I mean, this is literally what I do. This is how I have planned my year for years. And yes, I do it every winter because stuff changes. Not to mention new flowers, flowers you don't want to grow anymore, new colors. You learn lessons, all kinds of stuff. So pre-order your calendar because I want you to be in on the free workshop that I will be leading. And all of that will come when the all that information, I was having to think of when that'll happen, is once we have a concrete delivery date to us. So keep your eyes open for that. And then, friends, I always talk about and show my 2 books. The perfect companion to the calendar is the Cut Flower Handbook. I would love to sign one of these. This has a great bonus that has 6 additional flowers. It's a PDF download that comes with it. And also, if you're not familiar with this planting in the fall, winter, and very early spring concept, this is it. This is the start of it all. This is my first book, Cool Flowers, which really explains just the concept, right? It's a little easy read book, but it'll help you to wrap around and get you started understanding. And this is what our grandmas did, y'all, and our great grandmas. I did not make this up. But this just puts it so that you can understand and leads the way. So I would love to send one of those to you. And I just want to remind everyone, Jesse has put the link in the comments, but you can find it if you're watching this on October 30th of 2025. I have a free live masterclass tonight on where to sell cut flowers, and I would love to have you join. You can click the link in the comments, or you can just go to thegardenersworkshop.com. It'll be available to register for right up until the masterclass starts tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. In the email will be the link to get there, as well as a PDF printed that will have the 14 holes for you to fill in as I run through the different ways to sell flowers. And friends, I'm going to be buffalo busting some flower farming myths. So join me tonight. And just looking at my notes here. And remember that tomorrow, Friday, is our big show inside the shop app, the live gardening show. And it will probably be the last fresh flower show that we'll have for a while. Are y'all seeing my hairy balls back here? That's Gumpacarpus, Physocarpus, all of our pumpkin on a stick. We're just, and eucalyptus. Sunflowers are still coming out of the field. You'll be able to see all of this stuff. So friends, I hope to see you tomorrow at noon, but most importantly, I hope to see you tonight inside the masterclass, and I can't wait to see you then. All right, my friends, till we meet again. Ciao.